Answer to that, Senior Meteorologist Kristi Gordon joins us now. Kristi, this one is just the first of 3 storms.
Yeah, and I would agree with Environment Canada, Sophie, and what Troy said, in that it's actually the Christmas Day storm that I'm more concerned about. But you're right, 3 storms. This is the first one that's moving on shore right now. The greatest impact will be winds, and it won't be a lot for Metro Vancouver. For Metro Vancouver, it's our Christmas Day storm, and that one could bring both wind and rain as well as snow to the mountain passes if you're traveling. But the first one is this. In terms of winds, we're talking about hurricane-force winds along the central and northern coast of Vancouver Island. Majority of that through the overnight period. Gusts up to 140 kilometers an hour. Outer coast of Vancouver Island, 110. And a storm surge bringing that water up onto the coast. So that's a concern as well. Inner coast, gusts up to 100 kilometers an hour. And we may see an impact of those winds into the morning hours. So if you're traveling with BC Ferries tomorrow morning, you may want to check with them just before. But overall, the winds will die down tomorrow. And then when I come back, we'll have more details about the Christmas Day storm.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Kristi. All right, let's bring in meteorologist Kristi Gordon once again for a look at what will be a stormy few days. Kristi.
Thanks so much, Sophie. So once again, I wanted to highlight the concern for tonight's storm. So this is storm number 1, where the strongest winds are anticipated along the central coast, northern parts of Vancouver Island, and you'll likely see those strong winds into tomorrow morning. Gusts up to 140 kilometers an hour. Outer coast of Vancouver Island, 110. Inner coast, 100. We are anticipating the potential for power outages, and there may be some delays in ferries into the early morning hours tomorrow. Meanwhile, here's a quick look. Why am I not able to click? Oh, no. Sorry, everyone. Here we go. Okay. So here's a look at the winds. So what we're anticipating is the strongest winds will be through the Strait of Georgia through the overnight period. But then during the day tomorrow, we're actually anticipating those strong winds to shift into the interior. So Caribou region, central interior, we're talking about gusts up to 70 kilometers an hour for your day tomorrow. And that's because this low pressure center that's impacting the central coast tonight will shift into the interior. The next system on deck, this is our Christmas Day storm. And the concern is we've got a very strong cold front that will move across coastal regions throughout the day. So not only are we going to see wind, but rain as well, and snow for the mountain passes. It will impact the region all day, and we could see power outages. The next one doesn't shift onshore until the late evening hours on Boxing Day, and that one we're not as concerned about. It really is that Christmas Day storm that you'll need to stay tuned. So if you can avoid travel Christmas Day, that would be the better idea, or the recommendation. And then we're also worried about, of course, Christmas dinner in terms of power outages. In the meantime, there's your 5-day forecast, Sophie. Yes, definitely windy on Christmas Day here. Back to you.
All right. Thanks very much, Kristi. For a closer look at the timing of these storms, Kristi.
Thanks so much, Sophie. So the first one is moving onshore right now, and likely why we won't see much of an impact on BC Ferries is because the strongest winds really are anticipating overnight, but there could be some lingering effects into early morning hours tomorrow. So check with BC Ferries just in case. This is the next monster that's set to move onshore on Christmas Day. It's going to bring wind and rain to coastal regions and snow for the mountain passes, so certainly not great for travel. And the potential is there for power outages, which could impact, of course, Christmas dinner cooking as well. In the meantime, this is tonight. So outer coast of Vancouver Island, 110 kilometer an hour gusts. Central coast, northern coast, we're talking about gusts and the hurricane force strength up to 140 kilometers an hour. Inner coast, including Greater Victoria, Southern Gulf Islands, gusts up to 100 kilometers an hour. Metro Vancouver is not under a wind warning for tonight, but we will likely see that on Christmas Day change, and we'll see that a wind warning be issued for Metro Vancouver. In the meantime, windy overnight. We are anticipating the winds to ease in the morning hours, but for those of you on the central coast, you'll likely continue to see the strong winds even into the morning hours. Back to you two.
All right. Thanks, Kristi.
Let's check in with Kristi again and look at the weather. We have this series of storms heading for the west coast, and one of them's arriving tonight, Kristi.
That's exactly right. So a special weather statement is in place for all coastal regions because of the 3 storms that Chris was mentioning. The first one is bringing wind warnings. It's not, Metro Vancouver does not have a wind warning, but all of the coastal regions of Vancouver Island, and particularly the central coast northern regions, where these gusts could be up to 140 kilometers an hour. That's like a hurricane strength wind. We're anticipating the strongest winds to be overnight, and it will ease through the morning hours. So these are the overnight winds. You can see southeasterly through the Strait of Georgia, impacting parts of coastal regions of Metro Vancouver, but not warning criteria. And a strong onshore flow across the west coast of Vancouver Island could cause sort of a storm surge or some sort of localized flooding in that region. Meanwhile, tomorrow during the day, the strong winds will shift into the interior, Caribou, Chilcotin, central interior, gusts up to 70 kilometers an hour expected for your region throughout the day tomorrow. And that's because of this system here, which will shift into the interior tomorrow and then weaken. But here's the next system. This is Christmas Day. Strong cold front will move across coastal regions throughout the day on Christmas Day. That's why we're anticipating the potential for power outages, and it comes with rain. And if you're traveling, we're talking about snow on the mountain passes and blowing snow. It's not till late in the day that it moves out. This is storm number 3, not nearly as major, but we're still highlighting it because a lot of people are traveling. So winds potentially late in the day on Boxing Day. In the meantime, this is your Christmas Eve day forecast. We'll actually catch some nice breaks in the clouds tomorrow and just a chance of showers. The bulk of the rainfall for storm number 1 will be overnight tonight along with those winds. Mild as well tomorrow. Look at that, 11 degrees, but stormy, yes, on Christmas Day. With wind and rain, we may see more wind warnings be issued on Christmas Day. So stay tuned. I'm concerned about everyone cooking turkeys on Christmas Day with power outages. So you definitely want to stay tuned. All right, tonight, Central Windows weather window coming to you from Lone Butte. Now, did I say that correctly? I'm pretty sure it's Lone Butte, and a beautiful shot of the sunset from last night. Bruce Nielsen, thanks so much for that one.
Sure
That's how
did.
I say it.
Yep.
All right, thanks, Kristi. Squire is here now, a homecoming of sorts at Rogers Arena.
Yes, Macklin Celebrini is in the game.
It's a great idea.
It is. I wonder if Ken
love it.
Sims watching.
Well, I mean, they get a lot of revenue from those Sparky tickets. I narrely avoided one today.
Good for you. You spot the guy and run to your car?
I spotted the guy and I ran to my car.
Yeah. A lot of people doing that over the next little while.
Yeah.
Okay, last word quickly on weather here, Kristi.
So strongest winds for tonight will be overnight, as well as the winds tomorrow, as well as the rain. Tomorrow actually will be a fairly pleasant day in between systems when the next one moves onshore. Early Christmas Day, maybe a tough ride for Santa, by the way, early Christmas